For the past 31 days of August 2021, I tracked every single dong that I spent in Saigon, Vietnam during our lockdown. And in this video, I'm going to share with you exactly how much I spent during this intense 1-month lockdown. Now, if you haven't been living under a rock for the past 18 months, you know there's a global pandemic going on, and that's obviously had an impact on everything money. So I'm expecting this month's spending to be a lot lower than usual. We spent the first 2 weeks of the month under Directive 15 lockdown, that was essential shopping only, and the final 2 weeks was under Directive 16 lockdown, meaning stay at home order. So later, I'll also include an estimate of what you could expect to spend under a normal month here in Saigon after the pandemic. My spending in this video will be in 3 main categories. The first one is rent and utilities. Number 2 is groceries and food. And number 3 will be household or medical expenditure. So let's take a look at the numbers. So the first and biggest category in expenses for this month was bills and utilities. Mainly it's the rent for my apartment here in Saigon in District 2. I spent 5.9 million on rent for this apartment, which is around $260, which I split half and half with my girlfriend for an apartment around $12 million a month. $12 million? 12 million dong per month. If you want to see what we get for a $500 apartment here in Saigon, you can check a link in the description. We have an apartment tour video too. Along with rent, the next expense was bills, which was 600k for the whole month, which is mainly for electricity. Our apartment here includes free tap water, Wi-Fi, which is a really good speed, which is great as digital nomads, and it includes cleaning 3 times per week. Next on the list of bills is phone credit. I paid 100k to top up my phone. I'm on Mobifone network and I have a package for 70k per month. That gets me around 4 gig of data for the whole month, only for 70k. The next expense is drinking water, for which I paid 90k. It's not advisable to drink the tap water here in Vietnam, so we buy big 20-litre tanks of water that you can drink. The price was 40k for the bottle and 50k for the deposit that we get back when we return the tank. I think that would last about a week, so for a month it would be a little bit more expensive. So the final point for bills is our Netflix membership. It's an essential spending during this lockdown. I share it with Emma and my share was 90k, which is around £3 or $4 for half of the Netflix membership for the month, and that's the bills category. So the totals for the bills, if I look here, it's 6.78 million Vietnamese dong. That's just under $300, 298, or 215 Great British pounds. That's the bills for the month. The next category is groceries or food. This includes our weekly grocery shopping, which I calculate as 3.7 million dong. That's around once per week to do a big shop to stock up the cupboards. That also includes ordering some takeaway dinners, whatever we have access to during lockdown, which was just over 1 million dong for a few takeaway dinners. This price also includes having snacks and drinks, things like that, which I put as 500k. And there were some extras this month. At the start of the month, it was Emma's birthday, and I paid 500k for a nice Oreo cheesecake birthday cake. And this also includes some sweet treats from the bakery, fresh bread, things like that, as well as having to buy from some gourmet shops that are the only ones delivering, which also increased the groceries price for this month. So food was the most frequent expense that you can see, not quite as much as groceries. If I look at the totals, it was 6,440,000 Vietnamese dong, which is $283 or 205 Great British pounds, and that is food for the month. And the final category is household or toiletries, a few random things, but they do add up. They include things I need for the bathroom and shower, painkillers, I wear contact lenses, some lotions and other things like that. The total was 460,000 Vietnamese dong, or $20 or 15 Great British pounds. So during this lockdown, the month of August, the total for my whole month was 13,590,000 Vietnamese dong, which is just over 602 US dollars or 434 Great British pounds. So even relative to cost of living in Vietnam, this was a very cheap month. Of course, there are a few factors. We are living as a couple. That means we have a few shared expenses that reduces the cost. For example, this apartment, if you pay for it on your own, then you are paying the full $500, or if you split it amongst 2 or 3, that's obviously going to be a lot less. And of course, it really depends on your lifestyle. Even during this lockdown, if we have the opportunity to buy some delicious food and order whatever we can, then we've done that for some home comforts. But it really depends on your lifestyle. If you're a person that needs to buy alcohol and things like that, which we personally don't that much, that will gonna increase your costs a lot. And of course, you can live a lot more frugally if that's your lifestyle. My expenditure this month was definitely a lot less than normal. Obviously, the big factor has been the COVID lockdown. If I look here, there were some days where I had no expenses at all. Actually, 13 days out of 31, I spent $0. I think this is quite unrealistic in a normal month. On a normal day, you'll want to spend some money to get a coffee or some delicious street food, so that is probably not going to be the case outside of lockdown. Outside of lockdown, I would expect my expenses to increase by around 50%. One major expense that we didn't have this month is a free visa extension during Directive 16 lockdown. We would typically be paying $115 for a 1-month extension, which is 2.6 million dong. Already, that's around 20% extra on your expenditure. Outside of lockdown, you're likely to spend a lot more on entertainment as there is none in lockdown. You might go to the movies, around 100k for a movie ticket, or go out for drinks, and even though beers are relatively reasonably priced, around 30 to 50k per beer, I expect that you could spend around 600k per month on entertainment at least. Although we had some takeaways this month, I would expect a lot more eating out on a normal month. There's so many delicious Western restaurants in the city and street food that you can take advantage of. Even if you spend for a lunch or dinner around 150 to 250k and you do that 2 or 3 times per week, I think you would spend around 1.5 million extra on a normal month. Additionally, if you're new to the city, you would expect to have motorbike rental as a monthly cost. That can cost around 1 million dong. If you don't rent your own motorbike, then you would probably be taking grab bikes or Gojek to get around the city, and you might expect to spend around 1 million dong for your transport for the whole month. We own our own bikes, so we don't rent or use too many grabs, and the other expense would be about your petrol. And petrol is very cheap in Vietnam, cost me around 40 or 50k to fill up a whole tank on my semi-automatic bike, so your cost will be a lot lower if you own your own bike and only have to pay for gas, but obviously we barely drove around at all in this past month. Another optional expense that's up to you is gym membership. Personally, I like to go to the gym around 3 times per week, which I haven't done in lockdown, and my gym costs 550k per month, but there are some gyms that cost a lot more, so I've put it down as 700k per month if you are a gym goer. Next up would be a daily expense, and that will be coffees or smoothies. Saigon is famous for having so many cafes, and loads of them you'll want to try out for yourself. Even at around 30 to 50k for a coffee or a smoothie, I would expect to do that most days, and I put this as 500k per month extra for your coffee money. On top of that, although you'll see that I haven't had one recently, a haircut is something that you might do every month. For me, I go to a local barber's called 30 Shine, I get a haircut, a massage and a facial, and that costs me 180k, and I do that maybe once per month. And finally, since Vietnam is such a beautiful country, we always want to travel and explore new places. If you are the same, then you should factor in having travel expenses, even if it's for a day trip, maybe an overnight trip or a weekend away. I've put, including food and transport, an allowance of 2 million dong per month. So if I total up all of that non-lockdown spending, I get an extra of 9.1 million dong, and that would bring my total under normal circumstances to be 22,900,000 Vietnamese dong, which is just over $1,000, 1,007, or 728 Great British pounds for your monthly expenses not in lockdown here in Saigon, Vietnam. So I think Saigon is a little bit more expensive than other cities. Your cost of living will certainly be lower if you live outside of these big cities, but there's pros and cons with that. But Vietnam is definitely a very affordable country to live in, especially compared to Western salaries, for example, those that you might expect when you're teaching English here in Vietnam. Teaching English is definitely one of the most popular expat jobs here. Just as a ballpark, you may earn $20 per hour, you could work for 20 to 25 teaching hours, so a little bit more in real terms, and expect to earn around $1,500. So for your 20 to 25 hours per week, you could end up earning $1,500 and potentially save at least $500 of those dollars. You could choose to live very comfortably on that salary and not save much, or to live a bit more frugally and save over $500. It really depends on your lifestyle. If you're teaching English locally here, another factor is your time. Depending on where your school or centre is, you may spend a lot of time commuting, which also comes with its own dangers and stress, and of course takes time. This is especially useful for me as a digital nomad, as it means I can save my time commuting, apart from the walk from the bedroom to the office. So I get to save my time, save some stress, and save the risk of driving on Vietnamese streets. And it means that my work per hour is worth more, which is great. And I get to enjoy an even better work-life balance than English teachers teaching locally. If you're interested to learn more about my digital nomad lifestyle, then leave a comment down below. Any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And let me know how this compares to your cost of living, whether in lockdown or under normal circumstances. I'm really interested to hear it, so leave a comment down below and I will definitely read it. So even though my spending was very low this month, a little over £400 is pretty crazy. The obvious trade-off is living through this lockdown with a lack of freedom, lots of social isolation, and the impact on mental health before you get too jealous of my expenditure for the month. So I hope this video was interesting and informative about my finances here in lockdown. If you want to find out when you could visit Vietnam when the borders open, you can check my Vietnam visa video up here, or for some bucket list inspiration, you can watch my Vietnam playlist down here. Thanks very much for watching. Any questions, leave in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.